This is the DNA of the most dangerous creature in the universe.
What?
It's been buried on Earth since the 9th century. It's not going to stop until it's taken control of this planet. It's going to kill anyone that gets in its path.
Does it have a name?
Happy New Year! Hope you all had a good one last night. Hope you're not too hungover. I'm not, because I didn't drink anything last night. I didn't even go out. The perils of being a parent. Babysitters are too expensive. And I had a cold anyway, so didn't particularly feel like it. So I just stayed in, and we had a nice takeaway and watched a movie. Tom Hanks in Inferno, if you're interested. You're probably not. But that's what I did last night. Hope you had a fun one. But we're not here to talk about films or New Year's. More generally, we're here to talk about Doctor Who. And yeah, Daleks. Exciting. Resolution was written by Chris Chibnall and directed by Jamie Childs. And yeah, New Year's Day special. I haven't been shy about the fact that I was not pleased that there was not a Christmas Day special. I was very much looking forward to that Christmas Day special. It's part of my ritual, and they took it away from me. But you know, this was a good episode. And it just, I don't know, it didn't feel special. It just felt like another episode. In fact, well, no, it didn't feel like another episode. What it felt like, what this episode felt like, was the series finale to Series 11. Because the actual series finale to Series 11 didn't feel like the series finale to Series 11, but this one does. So it doesn't really feel like a seasonal special for me. It feels just like the season finale. That could be good, that could be bad. Depends on your point of view, I guess. Another thing in advance of this episode, which I had voiced several times, was that I actually didn't want the Daleks to return. I was really kind of hoping that they would have a really, prolonged period of not being in Doctor Who. Maybe at least 2 years, 2 seasons, 2 series of not being in the show. And we didn't quite get that. We got, well, they were in at the beginning of Series 10, weren't they? And then they're in this, which let's class as the end of Series 11. So they didn't go really a full series without being in it, which I was really hoping for, but we didn't get. And all in advance, I was hoping for that. And it was quite obvious early on that we weren't going to get that. That, all of the trailers very strongly hinted at Daleks. And then, of course, we got that trailer on Christmas Day, which had the Exterminate in there as well, which all but confirmed it. So what do I think about that? What do I think about the fact that they included Daleks in it in the end, even though I was hoping they wouldn't? I think they pulled it off pretty damn well, actually. I'm not saying it was a perfect episode, but I think it was one of the best Dalek stories we have had since Series 1, possibly, I think. Maybe the one in Series 4 was okay, but I think in terms of originality, in terms of it just being a completely different take, which really works on how to use the Daleks, I think this is brilliant. And I think they made the absolute right call to just keep it at one lone Dalek. That's something we haven't seen since Series 1, and that is something that I think can work really well. And I was kind of hoping, once I knew that it was going to be Daleks, that they would do that, and that we would see one Dalek and just how deadly one Dalek can be. And we got that. But what was great is we didn't get that in just the same way as we got it in Dalek from Series 1. It was, especially in the first half of the episode, a completely different way of showing how one Dalek can be deadly. And I absolutely loved what they did with that, and the way that you had the uncased Dalek, and the way it was kind of a body horror kind of vibe to it when it latched on to, is it Viv? What was her name? Lynn. I don't know where I got Viv from. Lynn. When it latched onto Lynn, and that reveal that it was on her back, I thought was really well done, really well directed, really well scripted. It was, I think, absolutely brilliantly done, and had that kind of creepy vibe to it. And yeah, I think well played Chibnall on this one, and Jamie Childs for the way he brought that out as well. I thought both the cinematography of it and the music was really on point in this episode. The music was absolutely fantastic and worked really well to heighten the tension and to heighten those reveal moments and those emotional moments all throughout the episode. It worked really well. So yeah, even though I didn't want Daleks, I'm forgiving that they played it really well. Well done. In terms of when it got its shell, it made its own shell, and the way it looked, I would never want, a fleet of Daleks looking like that. But it was a really good way of introducing a new look Dalek without it being the new look of the Daleks, if you see what I mean. We got a completely original take on what a Dalek can look like without, every Dalek we see for the next 5 years having to look like that, which I thought was really well, and the kind of handmade aesthetic kind of ties in nicely, I think, with with some of the Doctor's own stuff. With her sonic screwdriver, that was handmade, and it's kind of got that kind of theme made in a warehouse somewhere. That with their own hands, that kind of theme has run through the series. Well, I say run through the series. It was in the opening and now in the closing of it. But it was nice that the way that tied together, I think the whole episode was brilliantly shot and the cinematography of it was brilliant. I love the cosmic fireworks looked beautiful when we first saw the TARDIS team looking out at those. That looked fantastic, and I think a lot of that looked absolutely visually stunning. And then the rest of the shots are really well framed, really well. It looked cinematic. The whole of this series has looked beautiful, but this episode, I think, had that added element of looking cinematic. Oh, and yeah, and I almost forgot to mention the interesting choice of having the place names in that big, bold lettering. Very much in the vein of some recent films. I was trying to figure out which ones they were. I think one of the Bond films did it. There might have been the Bourne films probably do it. Other films. Oh, was it Captain America Civil War did it? Was it that one? Big, bold lettering, and I think that kind of I liked the style of that. That was kind of an interesting little quirk. That was nice. In terms of the TARDIS team, what did we have? We had the Doctor was I think really good again in this episode. I think this is one of her stronger episodes. She still didn't have that. She still hasn't had a really punch the air, wow, amazing, oh my god, she's up there in the best Doctors ever type moment. She hasn't had that moment like Capaldi's speeches, or when David Tennant turns on a dime from being to the sort of the anger that he can just turn on instantly. She hasn't had anything like that that has really made me go wow with her. But in this episode, she was great. I mean, she was great. But she's just not right up there. I think it's probably one of her better episodes, in terms of the whole lot. So she was enjoyable. And then you had Graham and Ryan, who had some fantastic stuff again with their story arcs, their personal story arcs, brought in by when, of course, Ryan's dad turns up, when Aaron turns up, and the actor that played him was fantastic, and it was inevitable he was going to turn up eventually. I like what they did with it, and it gave some lovely moments for especially Ryan, but also, surprisingly, for Graham. That moment where Graham is just in the house with Aaron, there were some nice moments in there for them two as well, and some more nice stuff for Graham. But Ryan is the standout character of this episode, I think, and the kind of interaction he has with his dad. And then right at the end, of course, when he forgives him, when he thinks he might lose him, that was all really powerful stuff. Again, really brilliantly aided by the music there. So it was nice character arc stuff from those guys. Yaz. Well, Yaz. I mean, she's there, isn't she? Again, she doesn't really do much. She's fine. She did seem like a police officer at one moment again. This is only, I expected this to crop up more throughout the series, but she kind of acted like a police officer when she said, "Oh, we've got your details. We'll be in touch if we need anything to that to Lynn. Other than, I mean, and she's always perfectly fine, but there's never anything particularly amazing. You could remove her from the story, from most of these stories in Series 11, and it wouldn't really make a difference. So I'm hoping Series 12, she gets a really good character story arc to compensate for that, because the other two have had fantastic story arcs this whole series. She hasn't. She needs something. Definitely. Oh, and what's happened to UNIT? It's been disbanded due to funding issues. I know this will divide people. Probably along 54 and 52 and 48% lines, but I quite liked the little side joke there about funding issues and how international support has gone away. I think that was probably hinting at Brexit there. There will be people that will complain about that and think it's the show getting political, but I just think it's a funny little joke, frankly, and it made me laugh. So, but Kate Stewart got a reference, so that was nice. We've been wondering where she's been. She didn't even get into Series 10, so I wonder how this will affect. I wonder if this will affect Big Finish's UNIT series. There's no UNIT; it's been disbanded. I hope they include that somewhere in the storylines of Big Finish UNIT series. I would say this episode is one of the best of Series 11. If you're counting it as part of Series 11, which I think I probably will for my rankings when I go around to doing them, when I rank Series 11, I might just include this one in there. It's one of the best of Series 11, and it's certainly the best Chris Chibnall written episode of Series 11. But I mean, it's not perfect. There were a few things that niggled at me. But nothing major. I mean, the main things that bugged me were it kind of felt a couple of times like things were written in for convenience sake and not very well. I.e., they were kind of ham-fisted in there to make the plot move forward, whereas obviously stuff has to be written in to make the plot move forward, but it's the way it's put in and the dialogue around it can make it feel natural or can make it feel shoved in there. And there were a few instances where dialogue, and I think Chibnall has had this problem throughout the series of heavy exposition making it feel a bit ham-fisted. And there were a couple of instances of that here. I think when the Doctor was explaining about the recon Daleks, felt a bit like, hey, let's info dump some stuff random and it'll be very convenient to make it a more fearsome fiend for them to fight. Hey, that kind of bit of alliteration there. So yeah, there was that, and there was that random bit with the family who had to have a conversation now because none of the technology worked. That felt very out of place with the rest of the episode, and I think that could have done with being cut. But they're minor niggles. Overall, the episode was very good, and I very much enjoyed it. I'm going to give this episode a 9 out of 10. It is a high score from me. I really enjoyed it, despite the fact that I didn't want the Daleks back. I'm happy they were. It was very enjoyable, and a good romp. Even if it didn't feel special enough to be a special, it felt like a season finale. What did you think of it? What would you give it out of 10? What were your thoughts? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, subscribe and all that jazz for more videos from me. Lots of more Doctor Who content coming up soon, and other stuff, other pop culture stuff. Here's some videos that you might like of mine, something, maybe another review here, and something YouTube thinks you might like there, so check those out too. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.